Okay. Muy buenas tardes, mi raza. I am back. Yes, I'm back. I'm like sitting here telling Cupcake, like, fuck, I'm nervous. I don't even know how to do this anymore. It's been forever. I appreciate everybody for the love. I'm back. Everybody's like, where are you at? We need new stuff. What are you doing? I'm back, guys. I am back. I've been going through a lot of bullshit. And immediately after I record this, I am going to record another one that you're going to want to check out because I'm going to be, it's shots will be fired. That's what I will say. I wanted to start off with the date. Today is Sunday, May the 4th. So may the 4th be with you for all the fans. Quería saludar también a toda mi raza. Everybody, especially my Mexico people. I know you've been asking me, comadre, ¿qué estás haciendo? Aquí estoy, raza. My Tijuana people, Don Ociel, muchas gracias. Gracias por tanto amor. Curiosity, where are you guys watching me from? Drop a message. Let me know because I love you guys. I freaking love you. I've been so emotional. I swear it has gotten to me, pero I promise we're done with all that bullshit. Before we get into the topic of the day, que es un chisme viejo that I've been wanting to put out there since last week. All my people on Instagram, quiero pedirles un big favor. Huge one, okay? I wrote his name down here because I need you guys to help me give this young guy a follow. Se llama Lil Tunes 562. Little Liltoons 562. He is a young muchacho, an upcoming model. His name is Richard Sierra. He is a son of a guy I went to school with. So, yeah, guys, he's looking for work, looking for new opportunities. Give him a follow. Show him some love. He's our little Chicano homie in the area. So, you know how we do. I love my people to show love, show support. Let them know we care, guys. La unión hace la fuerza, right? Richard, congratulations on everything you do. I want to have you come down here and sit on the couch. Not this couch. I have a couch coming. And give me a quick interview. Just let everybody know who you are, where you're from, and what's up. So, yeah. Oh, and by the way, I wish you lots of luck with all your new endeavors or whatever it is you're getting into. You will get there. I promise you. Just keep pushing. We were out of the studio for so long. I'm still here in the studio now. I have to replace my couch. All these new interviews are coming up starting now. Like, I'm having things lined up already. So, you guys, like I said, I'm back. So, if you didn't hear me, I'm back. I'm really back, like, for us. Let's get into the chisme of the freaking day. This long-awaited story. By the way, I will tell you guys, it is 100% real. Even though se va a oír like exaggerated or like a lie or like a movie, I promise you guys there is like supporting documents. There's a whole ass comic book. There is some of it in the early Pomona books. These are like my favorite, the Images of America. If you guys are like me and you're into like history and you need to know everything about certain cities or places, points of interest, historical stuff. These books, guys, are the way to go. Te dicen hasta lo que no, con fotos y todo eso. I purchased this one used. You guys know I love the whole reuse. Don't throw away. Appreciate your stuff. On eBay, I bought it for like $10, I think. Regular price for these series of books on 21 something. ¿Dónde está el precio? Oh, $19.99. I'm sorry, I'm exaggerating. Pero yeah, check them out. There's a lot of these where like main cities are. So like LA has some. I know Pico Rivera has some. Susa has some. Where else? Detroit has some. When we were on the rig, I bought a couple of them from like the places that we passed by. Because like, you know me, every little thing like calls my attention. Y soy re chismosa. So, you know, La comadre needs to know how that chisme rolled. And where to get information better than real information. Not just somebody that's making up stuff and tells you, oh, I think. No, like, get it from the horse's mouth or the book itself, ¿verdad? Comic book. It's 100% independent. So I would not urge you, but suggest, guys, because, you know, the underdog needs love all the time. Support, love your people, ayúdenlos, échenle la manita. It is not our friendcomics.com. She is here local, I believe in Rancho Cucamonga, and she has a couple of these comic books, not too many, and from my understanding, she writes the story and draws the pictures itself, so they are really good. This one in specific, or in particular, or to highlight, is the Spadra, which I will be talking about today. So yeah, I'm gonna get into the whole story. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that there are 2 different episodes that I have made. One itself was covering the Spadra cemetery. That video is probably 3 years old now. And then me and Cupcake, did one a few months back, probably around August, where we're talking about our experience at the Spadra cemetery. For those of you guys que no son de aquí de la área, or even if you are and you didn't know, Spadra was one of the first cemeteries that was made here in the Pomona area. And the reason for that cemetery was that it was the one where you didn't need a religion to be buried at. The story with the cemetery starts at the Palomares. That was owned obviously by Mr. Palomares and family. Pero allí tenían que ser Catholic. 100% católicos para estar enterrados allí. Okay, when everything started changing, that, you know, they didn't want anybody in that specific area where this original panteon is, they started moving bodies to the Holy Cross, to the Pomona Cemetery up here on the south side. What happened was that también es un panteón católico, the Holy Cross, you know. Okay, so a lot of bodies from Palomares ended up getting shipped over to Spadra. Spadra was already there. So a lot of people say, oh, it was the first one. We had 2 original ones, Palomares and Spadra. Spadra was, you're dead, come and get a hole. Palomares was, si no eres católico, you cannot be buried here. So just to set the record straight. Okay, we went, me and Cupcake, to Spadra to go find Phillips Ranch. Okay, if you guys know who that is, he's the founder of the actual city, that Phillips Ranch. So we were looking for the dead famous people of the area, and we went in there. We stumbled across him and a bunch of other tombs that are very, very like cool, amazing to look at. But while we were there investigating the famous people there, pues pasó un desmadre y medio. We got ran out by the dead. Like, seriously, I'm not playing. Look up my episode so you can see and listen to the story. Pero the reason why I am saying this story now is because the first tomb that we came up on era una que era Pearl, Scott, Hopp, mother and baby. Just like this, literally. Here's the drawing. Okay, and then here's the real picture. That real picture obviously was taken by me. Sorry que está feo, but I actually screenshot from my video. And yeah, you know, I was very curious por qué era mother and baby, you know, what the heck happened, this and that. Okay, the night that all this happened, there was a woman humming in my house, which was, yes, paranormal. And I understand you guys are probably saying, yeah, right, whatever, comadre. I swear. So it sparked my curiosity even more to know who the heck was Pearl and the baby. So I started looking up her name, and a bunch of chismes come up. Chismes I say because they weren't true. That supposedly she had cheated on her husband and he killed her and the baby, blah, 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 this and that. Okay. Now, once again, we will get into actual facts because it is a tragic love story. Y pues, who doesn't want to hear a tragic love story, right? God, I'm a sucker for love, so you guys should be too. All right, so this story, guys, starts back in 1905. So again, when Pomona was still considered Spadra is when this tale took place. All right. On May 3rd, 1905, this girl, Pearl Scott, married a guy by the name of William Hopp. She was 19, he was 30. Le ganaba con muchos años. Okay, back in those days, you guys know how the whole money stays in the family. People with money marry people with money. If you have a daughter and you don't have money, you pretty much sold her away to ensure her future and yours. Sorry to say, se oye bien feo, pero así era el tiempo. Anyways, this man, Mr. William Hopp, used to own one of the first stores that was there in Spadra. It was a general store, so vendía poquito de todo, right? Okay, esta muchacha, sus padres la casaron. You guys can imagine how that went. In only 4 years, her life was up and down and then gone. Just like that. Okay, so she marries this guy. He loved her. But come on, like, he was really older, much older than her, you know? So whatever, I guess there was differences, a lot of differences because of the age, which is true, you know? Think about it. You talk to somebody 5 years younger than you, a lot of your likes and things in common are not really in common, right? So imagine being married to somebody that much older than you. It's kind of like, ugh. Okay, well, somewhere down the line, Miss Pearl gets pregnant. Okay, she's pregnant and doesn't go full term because she loses this child. Close, I think she was like 8 months pregnant and the baby like had complications. So unfortunately, an unfortunate event. So they buried the baby. She went through the whole loss of a child. As you can imagine, it is a horrible, horrible thing to go through. She was full of depression during this time. Who wouldn't be, right? Because she wanted her baby. And Mr. William, her husband, was always in and out of town because back then, and like now, you know, everything that you sort your stuff, your store with is in LA. Back then, going to LA wasn't as convenient as it is today. Que te subes al carro y vámonos a manejar. And 40 minutes later, you are downtown. No, back then it was a horse ride, a wagon ride. I will be gone all freaking day. I will come back tomorrow. So Pearl was alone a lot. And the store was alone a lot. And her parents were from this side of Pomona, meaning the incorporated area. She lived Spadra across the train tracks because that's where her well-to-do life was. She would come on this side of Pomona a lot because her parents lived on Park Street. So the tienda no se abría because nobody was there. She was, you know, going through her depression at her parents, this and that. So William ended up hiring a new guy in town to help him run the store. All right, that guy's name was Lee Warner. From the accounts and stories and suggestions I have gotten everywhere I have looked, this guy was drop dead gorgeous. So what happens when you mix a lonely wife going through depression with no help from her husband and a good-looking young bachelor? If you're thinking what you're thinking, and if you're thinking that they started messing around, you're right. Okay, so at first she didn't notice who was the help. She just knew that William had got a guy. He was helping her, this and that. Next thing you know, for some reason, she went to go look for her husband y que se encuentra el fulano. So, yeah, I'm sure she got warm and she got like blushed and she's looking at him and he's looking at her. Whatever was the case, It all happened. All of it. The white eyes and the mouth maybe open. I don't know. But, you know, whatever. It happened. He liked her. She liked him. And next thing you know, they started running a full-on affair. Like, full-on affair. Okay. Well, Mr. William goes to LA on one of his trips to go get merchandise to bring back to the store. And on one of those times that he goes out there, he brings her back a bottle of perfume. Okay, back then, obviously, there wasn't so many perfumes of all kinds and, you know, you could choose this and that. So he liked it. It was the new thing in the store where he went to, you know, get his stuff wholesale. And he brought it back to her. And it smelled good. And she was like, thank you so much. Él la tenía bien chiqueada. So she never needed anything. She never wanted anything. Everything was just given to her. So it was just like, okay, thank you. But it did smell good. Okay, well, one of these days, passing this whole gift of perfumes killed it. Okay, her and her little lover Lee would meet up everywhere they could, in the barns, in the yards, in the neighbors down the street, behind the church. Any given chance they can run into each other, they would. Y se agasajaban, and you could just imagine how that went, right? Well, one of these days, exactly that happened. They met somewhere, and the whole kissy and this and that. And Lee had to go to work right after. So he did. He went, reported to the store. And William smelled the perfume that his wife had just got on this guy Lee. So he's like all suspicious and like, hey, you know, you have a new cologne or what are you wearing? So this guy's like, oh, no, you know, he's like, oh, like, oops, you know? It's like, it's just my deodorant, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. Well, Mr. William started, like, he had a whole eyebrow up, and I don't think so, and what's really going on? He got real suspicious. So he started, like, following them, kind of, and somehow, some way, he was super 100% sure they were messing around, but he could never just catch them, you know? It was just like little like details that would just like be so coincidental. So he was putting like 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 together, so you know he had them. Okay, well, anyways, another one of his trips that Mr. William did to LA was the day Miss Pearl decides to run away with Lee. You know, they said, we are just so in love. No podemos más. We got to leave from here because we're going to make a life together. Okay. Pearl goes into the husband's stash of money that he had at home, and she took all of it. A lot of money. She took a lot of money. It's about maybe $10,000, which back then was a whole lot. And she packs her stuff, and Lee had his stuff packed already, and they meet and they take the train, which was already running, y se van a Los Angeles. They disappear to LA because they're making a life for themselves. They're in love. They're gonna just get married. So yeah, they elope together. Okay, the next day when the husband comes home, pues no hay nadie en la casa. No está su vieja, no hay nada. And he's like, what the hell? So, of course, the people that seen them leave tell him, pues tu vieja se fue con el Lee. La tienda's been closed. They took off. Everything. They're gone. So he's like, are you sure? Oh, yeah, they left holding hands, blah, blah, blah. Well, William's all heartbroken because, you know, he's like, where could my baby be? Like, she's gone. There was no way to track them down. This was back in like 1909, 1908. So, no, pues se fue la muchacha y se fue con el fulano y they're gone. Well, in LA, Lee couldn't get a job. He was very limited to skills, so he couldn't find a job nowhere. Everywhere he looked, you know, LA is LA. It's always been LA. Advanced, you know, the more sophisticated people, whatever, no encontraba jale allá. Y pues Pearl, she couldn't find a job either. You know, she didn't even go to school, nothing. Like, they could not land jobs. So they were running on this $10,000 that she had stole from William. And they only made it maybe like 5 months because they ran out of money. They ran out of money. They were paying rent. You know, they had bought like a horse or something. Like, they just ran out of money. So esta muchacha comes home. Como el perro con la cola entre las patas. She comes home. She talks to William. She says, perdóname corazón, I was wrong, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Lee obviously came back with her. He didn't have a job because he can't go back to work for William, you know. He knew que se fue con ella. So he's like looking for work. He got a job somewhere out here in Pomona doing cattling también. So her and Lee would still see each other every chance they got. Their affair didn't stop. But their thought was just don't go around William, we'll be okay. While William was so in love with Pearl, he took her back. He's like, you know, just don't do that shit again. Whatever. So she's like, oh, of course not. It's done. We're done. No más. I love you. Of course, you know, she needed a place to stay. All right. Well, you know, pasó el tiempo. Pasó el tiempo, like maybe almost a year. And Lee, like, he was real in love with her. And so was she, you know, and the husband was in the middle, killing it for them. So, you know, they were just so lovesick together. They're like, you know, there's no way we can go anywhere. You know, small people mentality, because, you know, all this area out here, we had all the orchards, you know, you could get farm work anywhere out here. They didn't necessarily have to run all the way to LA, you know. They could have made something happen out here, but no, they were just like, it's not gonna happen. So they talked, they had a long talk, and, you know, they did the whole Romeo and Juliet. They said, you know what? We can never be together, then we shouldn't be. So they made a plan, you know. They're like, okay, you know, we can be together, nos matamos, and we'll be together forever. Okay. So they made a plan. Pearl wrote a big old letter to her parents, you know, hey, I'm done with William, blah, blah, blah. I'm leaving you guys all my stuff. Go pick it up. I don't want him to keep any of it. I want to be buried next to my baby, and I want Lee to be buried next to me. So, whatever. It was a whole plan in action. The day of, they played it out like normal. She came to visit her family. Lee went to work wherever he was working. Blah, blah, blah. Lee came after work to find Pearl at her parents' house. And they walked to the backyard, which was a full-on barn. They had peach trees back there, Pearl's parents. And all they heard was 2 gunshots. And, of course, the neighbors ran over. The parents came out of the house to see what was going on. And they found them both dead by the barn next to a peach tree. And she had her letter right there. So, yeah. It was Lee who shot her first. And then they found his body. Obviously, he shot himself too. But he's the one that had the gun in his hand. So, yeah, it was a big old, you guys can just imagine, el mitote del century back in 1909. The date was October 9th, 1909, when they both died. It was huge. It was a suicide, murder. It was horrible. People were, like, coming from all around Pomona to go see what happened. You know, it was just very unfortunate. Lee's mother was called in. She came over here. And because of everything that had happened, William, obviously being the store owner in town, had connections. They didn't allow Lee's mother to bury Lee there at Spadra. So Lee is actually buried on the other side, over here on the east side, at the Pomona Cemetery. He's buried there. And it was just horrible, you know, because of all this scandalo. And, you know, it just sucked because people have these positions and you have money and you don't, and this, not, you know, it's always been messed up. But yeah, even after death, they were not together. So it was just so sad. It was so unfortunate. And that's the story, guys, of Pearl, Scott, Hopp, and Mr. Lee Warner. When Lee's mother died, they brought her body also. I think his family was like back east somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. I think Nebraska, up, whatever. They brought her body out here. So Lee's actually buried next to his mom. They're in the Pomona Cemetery. I have yet not found them because I haven't really looked, but I will, because it's kind of cool to, hey, pobrecito, like I know you. So, yeah, and then Pearl's buried there. You guys can just imagine the reaction that William, the husband, had when Pearl's parents gave him the letter, getting like all her stuff. I'm gonna add newspaper clippings at the end. They are out there, guys. If you look up her name, they will come up. And it is just an incredible story. Like, wow. So, yeah, reading all these, informational books and stuff, I come to find out that the humming lady wasn't even Pearl. I'm assuming she's humming porque tiene un baby. It wasn't her, guys. I have another story for you. Pero como I love to tease you, that's another day, another story. This is what we're concentrating on today. So, yeah, Pearl lived. Her story sucked. It was very tragic love story, and it's one to think about. Like, so yeah, that is what I have for you guys today. Like I said, there's a lot of not a lot, but there is informational documents here and there to state it was a true story. And if you guys are ever up for a horrible scare, go to Spadra. I promise you, it will not disappoint, guys. All right, con eso los dejo, raza. Have a great rest of your, well, you know what? Have a great week, because you guys will probably see this really late today, Sunday. So have a blessed week. Have a great week. And like I said, I'm back, guys. I am so back. Immediately after this, I'm recording another one. Check it out because you want to hear what the heck is going on. Los adoro, raza. Bye.